Morena councillors and staff, Kelly online, and to any audience watching us. Could I ask that we please stand for our opening? Whakataka.
Te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau, te kora. Kia mā kina ki ita, kia mā taratara ki tā. E hi ake te atakura, te o he huka, te hauhu, te rei wai ora.
Welcome again, everyone. And we just note Councillor Coates' mother, who's not well today, and hence his absence. And we sort of wish him and his family all the best. I hope she's either recovers or is comfortable. I'll now call for apologies. I've got Councillor Amelia Nepiaptu, Deputy Jerry Greer, Councillor Todd Choate, Kate might be in, Councillor Kate Taylor might be in and out online. She's just not there right at the moment. And we do have Councillor Annan online. Could I call for a mover? Those apologies. Councillor Byrne, seconder, Councillor Lawrence. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Any declarations of conflict of interest today? No. So we'll move on to the confirmation of 4th of June 2026 minutes. Anyone have any issues, amendments to report? Everyone's happy with those?
Oh, I do. So that was the Whātuma visit.
Yes.
That I was part of the group. Oh, hang on, what did I read? Just left out of the second paragraph. Oh, sorry, the under the welcome opening, so Deputy Mayor noted that the Mayor, Councillor Amelia Nepiapatu and the CEO had been excused, but that was, I was included in that.
Okay.
Yeah, it does say at the bottom as well, but yeah.
Please.
All good.
Okay. Could I ask someone to move, Councillor Minan, move the minutes with that one amendment? Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Lawrence. All those in favour? Against? Carried. We'll move on to the first item, resolution monitoring report, page 24.
Good morning, councillors. This is just your standard resolutions monitoring report, which reflects all the resolutions from the previous meetings and the status against it. We'll take the report as read.
Any questions? Those for Annalie or any of the team? Councillor Byrne.
I was trying to find where it was, but I think I just had a note. I think it still referred to the rate increase of 7.4%. Shouldn't it be 6.4? I can't find it. On page 23, your 8.
It is from the previous resolution, so this today's one will come into the next one, which will reflect the 6.7.
Okay. Okay.
I keep up with ourselves.
Any other questions on that report? Right. We'll just okay, we might just let's keep moving. You're all good, Councillor Annan? Okay, we'll just keep waiting for councillor Taylor to join there, but could I have someone move that accept that resolutions report? Councillor Muggeridge and a seconder, councillor Mining. All those in favour?
Aye.
It's carried. So the next item on the agenda, setting rates for 2026-27 financial year, Mr. Chamberlain, page 32.
Good morning, Your Worship, councillors. So the paper you have in front of you today will set the rates for the 26-27 financial year, which actually starts today. This paper is largely procedural. It takes the annual plan that you adopted last week at the 6.7 and works out what rate factors you require to collect those rates. So in its simplistic form, for example, the general rate, which is set on the capital value, you take the rated amount in the annual plan that you adopted last week and divide it into the district's capital value to come up with how many cents in the dollar you need to collect. You can see in the bottom in point 11 there, a table that shows the different rates for this year and how they compare to last year. But, I'll take the paper as read. Happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Moynihan.
Just under rate type, there's the general rate and all the other rates.
Yes.
Just in the refuge collection, I see there's a percentage increase of 42.9. Can you just tell me what's happened?
So what actually happened there is you actually need to go back a further year, because in the 24-25 year, that rate was actually $53. We've since discovered that we were a little bit optimistic in our budgeting last year, and it came down to 36, and now it's going back up, but it's actually a few cents less than it was 2 years ago. So it's a bit of a correction, and the public have had the benefit of a lower rate for a year.
Can I just reiterate the email from Kate regarding the porongahau and Te Parahi differentiation? So it's happened again in the curbside collection where it's separated again, so.
Okay. I think we're just keen to maybe sit down and have it,
Work that out.
because I think in talking to the team, they've had different advice at different times. So I think we might get you together with Pam and others interested and just work through that. So
Yeah, up by.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
This is probably the longest resolution we pass each year, Your Worship, and but it's a very important one. It's machinery, but Mr. Chamberlain has just a legal review of it as well. I think sure it's all in order. So
Right. Well, if everyone's happy, then I'm happy to move that we resolution.
Through to page 37.
Basically, resolves to set the following rates as laid out in the paper. Councillor Muggeridge, second. Anything you wish to speak?
Okay.
No?
Well, process.
Yeah. Yep. It's just all the, as C's pointing out, the detail behind the setting of the rates. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. LGNZ remits. This is you. See you. Dot face.
Yeah, that happened. So just this is the report that prepares for the Local Government New Zealand annual general meeting. two issues are appointing your delegates for that meeting, and then looking at the remits. I won't go through the report. I did ask our team to have a look at the remits and just see how they aligned with council's policy positions and thinking. There's a slight thing that I can pick up and running off the report, and that we also think that you would it would be consistent with your previous positions to support remit 2 as well around vaping regulation. So if you're of a mind to do that, then we think it's rising that would as well. Very open for councillors to discuss those remits and have a different view from the staff. That was just our initial take on them. And you just need to appoint your delegates. So it's
any questions? I know Kate, you had some commentary on this.
Yeah, sorry, I did. Sorry, I got my video off because I'm sitting in Hawke's Bay Airport where my flight has been delayed. I had one of my questions was related to the two transport ones, the bulk funding of transport activities. I actually like to hear from our land transport team. I support it in theory, as long as our land transport teams think it is a good idea. And the other one was the fairer approach to uneconomic transport infrastructure funding. That one just goes alongside everything that we've been talking about affordability across the board. But again, I would like to hear from the land transport team about those two remits.
yeah. Mark, would you like to?
Yeah, through you, Chair. I spoke to us at CE about these two, and I thought both were relevant to us and other councils across the country. My assumption from the bulk funding is that would simplify a lot of processes in terms of how we get funding, and presumably there would be a focus on outcomes rather than just kind of looking at all the pots of funding that we receive. And on the second one, yes, that is perfectly aligned with a number of the conversations that we've been having in recent times, particularly, low volume roads where, we've got $10 million a year roughly in our maintenance and operations budgets, and we've got 1,300 kilometres of network to maintain. So we are spreading that investment very thinly, so that guidance or that funding support would definitely help in that respect.
Supplementary, if I may, Your Worship. Just with regard the bulk funding, do you think it would? Some of the commentary was that, or the cons, were that it would make it less transparent for our ratepayers to know what we were doing and what we were spending our money on. But surely that would be a process thing for us to make sure that we improve that transparency. No worries there.
Through you, Chair, I think that's in our reporting and how we would report what activities we were doing, what service levels we would be achieving. So I don't necessarily think it's a transparency issue, because we could ensure as a council that is transparent to the public.
Right. Any other questions on Councillor Byrne?
There are 9 remits, and I recall at previous AGMs, LGNZ have said, look, we can't support or we can't advocate for all of them. Do you think it would actually be a good idea for us to, because we may support 7 of the 9, but do you think we should prioritise which ones we would like LGNZ to focus on? Because at the moment, although some of these are very important, and we've got some huge reform facing us, and I think if we want our advocacy body to focus on, although I do agree dog control is important, but do you think actually affordability and the local government reform is probably somewhere where you should be focusing in?
Well, certainly if that's what's happened in the past around prioritisation and not being able to do it all, then and if the delegates need to go with that information, then that would be good to discuss this morning.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Maybe easier to communicate outside of the floor of the meeting, but we're certainly happy to do if you want us to do. I'm open to how you do it. I just I'm just not sure how we do that within the context of the meeting, and these will have been through a remit screening process that they run before they get to going on the agenda. So that may have been looked at, but I think it's a good point you raise. I'm just thinking about how we would do that.
Yeah, I don't recall who went to the AGM last year.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, we did rank them. We did have to rank them, and we just basically did a wee rip around email beforehand, because I don't think we'd rank them in a meeting. We when we were at the AGM I went to, we basically had a wee powwow, and the 3 or 4 of us that were there and decided. But if you're asking for opinions, I think the top 2, based on what Pip said, would be the RET review and the audit ones, that actually save us some money in the meantime, and the 2 land transport ones to follow that.
Okay, I like the idea of perhaps the email later on prior to the meeting, but whether that has to form part of the.
I mean, I agree. The affordability, the whole board needs to be our focus at the moment. So yeah, I think if whoever goes to the local government conference looks at that, I think
I think that the meeting has been just, you may know this already, but just for information, the meeting's been detached from the conference this year. This will be an online meeting.
Perhaps if we just create a 3rd resolution there around council will prioritise the remits prior to delegates representing the council. Any other questions? Or okay.
The council for what times then?
Great. So that 3rd resolution is that council will prioritise the remits prior to the AGM.
And sorry, and can we add number 2, because although that just doesn't follow what I said about affordability, vape, the location of vape stores is definitely something that we need to. So that's not to say we don't.
Who's not in there?
It's not to say we don't support it. It's just probably not a priority to what we're currently facing.
Sure. Okay. All right. Would you like to move that, Councillor Boone?
We just need the names for the.
Oh, sorry, the delegates.
Yeah.
So we need myself and 2 others, is it?
Yeah. It's generally
Anyone like to put their hand up? Otherwise, we can.
When is it?
31st of July.
31st of July, and it'll be online.
So that's a Friday.
I'll be online.
So yeah, I guess we could, should we put Jerry in there? Another.
I can if needed, I think.
And
21st of July.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just have a quick question,
Right.
Your Worship. Sorry,
Okay, so we've got this.
I was looking at my calendar and now I've lost the meeting. Did I hear you say that remit 2 was out?
Just wasn't in. It wasn't in the resolutions, and Councillor Boone asked to put it back in.
Yeah, I just neglected to include it at
Yeah,
the
good.
stage
Thank
I'd signed
you.
it off. Yeah. So it's in there now.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Right, so everyone clear on those resolutions now? And we've got Councillor Boone moving, and I'm happy to second. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So that's the end of decision report. Now we're on to information reports, advocacy options, reprisal. Page 78.
Rena, your worship. Good morning, Akoto. This is in response to a resolution from Councillor Anand. I'll take the paper as read, and also noting that Councillor Taylor has provided some commentary on this already, which we've taken into account. I take it as read, open to questions. The only note that I would make is that one of the options was a petition, and I just would like to remind the table through your worship that council cannot lead a petition, and that would need to be led by representatives from around the table, and you would need a member of parliament to present it to the minister. No other comment. If anyone wants to, if you've got any questions.
I think just an additional comment, I think the staff are happy to respond to the scale. I guess how big do you want to make this, and we'll respond to that. There is obviously other activity going on at the moment, but we're in your hands.
Councillor Monaghan.
Yes, so I see there was a letter done previously from our ex-mayor. So is it possible to do something like that? Everyone's got emails. Can we not send it obviously to the ministers? Can't we send it to, are we allowed to send it to coalition partners and opposition partners to make sure they're aware? I mean, is that hard? No, if we had a direct letter and then they're aware of the problem, I think the further we send it, the better, I think. But that's my...
Through your worship, I would say that this is the best possible time that you could be communicating with politicians, central government politicians, and actually when you're looking for advocacy, you're looking to find who your champions would be across that political spectrum. Likewise, if you're looking at a petition, which we can support you to do, but it's about being thoughtful about what your tactics are. So who would be your champion in Parliament? And you help, and that person could also be your champion and with landing the letters.
Just with regards to the letter that is included, so what sort of response and action did we get from that letter? We as in this council.
Through your worship, not much. But that does provide a platform to go back and say, we've asked, we haven't really had a substantial response to that. What's the story? And to be fair, there's political grist in that if you are talking across parties.
And it is an election year, see.
But just to answer that, we did get a response from Minister Watts, who said, we've provided you with local water done well. That's what you asked for, which some of us dispute. And that's what he said. So just work with what you've got, but it clearly does not work for a district our size. I'm just wondering whether we don't just go with Hawke's Bay councils, we actually look at, because Mayor Fran Wild was on the news just at the weekend because of how South Wairarapa was hit by the latest weather. It's everywhere. Like small communities, small districts like ours are suffering, and it's not just to do with waters, it's everything. And this government at some point have to listen to us. So yeah, I don't think it's just a Hawke's Bay issue. I think it's much wider. So where it says a letter to the HBWCCO, I just believe, I mean, the Taxpayers Union have come out today, oh, not today, but maybe last week, with a rates database, and they've got the rates for councils, and then they've got the rates for water for the councils that have already joined the CCOs, and it's really concerning how much those, when you add them together, how much it's increased. So I think we just need to have that front of mind whenever we talk about affordability. So yeah, I think the more people, the wider we can get this, the better.
Through your worship, another option is to look at who that national advocacy, where that national advocacy could come from, which would be LGNZ. So you've more weight if there's clearly more weight if it's across the country making some noise, and then LGNZ can ensure that there's an appropriate visibility to media. At the end of the day, the leverage that you have with politicians is how much they can tell that story through the media, and what gain or damage can be achieved in a political environment.
We've got Councillor Taylor online, and also Councillor Annan, if you wanted to say anything as well, but Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship. Yeah, I emailed through in case I was on a plane when you spoke on this item. So yeah, a follow up to the minister's letter would be awesome. Particularly, I had two things in my notes, or three: nationally defined approach to what affordable means. So that was for access to clean water and sanitation. So we were looking for figures recently when we talked about in a different area, that we didn't have anything that we could actually quote for that affordability. And that letter talked about the international thinking is that 2 to 5% of household income, where in 2034 in CHB at the 7,000 that was originally, that would have been at 7.1. So to try and drive someone in Wellington to come up with that affordability metric for us. And the number 3 was to expand the government's rates rebate scheme to include water services. So they really would like they're tangible things that we can push for. At the moment, it seems like we're sitting here talking a wee bit tongue in cheek that we can't wait for the CCO to take it away, so that it's not a problem anymore. I think we still have to fight, because they're still paying for their water. Our ratepayers are still paying for that. So I think we do still need to push it quite strongly.
Councillor Annan.
Yeah, my concern is that I don't feel from a council perspective that we have done enough since we went out to tell people about the options for the water entity, and then the costs that the looming costs that are coming through. I don't know that we've done enough to be able to actually go back to them and I guess just really clarify with them what it is we have done on their behalf, but also what the risk around affordability and that is going forward, especially now that there's simplifying local government. My concern is that people will naturally start to think, well, they could start to think, well, simplifying means that it actually is going to become more affordable, which none of this processes, either of these parallel processes, are going to make rates more affordable. I've not heard any of that direction. And simplifying local government is not simplifying it for the general public. It's actually simplifying it for our government to, to do things better for what they think is what I'm seeing in my mind. So my concern is that we've just moved on to the next big issue, and we haven't really closed the loop for our community on the looming costs that they're going to be coming up against with the water services, and also I guess putting back into the government's talks and policies around what they could be doing to be able to actually really help meet that affordability challenge that people are facing. And there's some good stuff that's coming out at the moment around solar energy and all that sort of stuff. And so there's some innovation and a real desire to be able to make the cost of living come down and things be more affordable. And the one way that they can do that is with rates. And so if we have got an opportunity, then we need to pick up on that and definitely get the support of other councils. I was interested about that idea of the petition. I don't understand why we have, like you've talked about why we can't do it, but what are the ways that we actually could do it? And then probably now with this coming a little bit later than I had sort of imagined, we've missed the opportunity to probably put forward a remit through local government to be able to get that support this side of the election. So, yeah. Happy with the things that are discussed, but would like to hear advice and support on how we can actually make it a bit more harder and faster and a bit more front page of the newspaper stuff of us standing there saying, come on guys, we've got to still keep this front and centre. We can't just pass it on to the next entity and then we'll move on to the next thing when it's not making this any cheaper for our people.
Your Worship, happy to respond to that question about the petition, Councillor Annan. I can clarify what I was saying. What I was saying was that a council officer can't lead a petition, but we can support councillors to lead in establishing a petition, and you would need to have an MP to present that petition to Parliament. I think it's not so much about understanding what letters you could write or not write. I think that you were actually talking about a political strategy, and one that it sounds to me like you would like a broader base than just this council.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was sort of hoping for. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not really in the leadership position that I have been in the past. So unless I've got the support of, I guess, those that are talking to MPs and ministers and things like that, and the full backing of the comms team, then I guess, are we left with just doing it on an individual basis? I don't know. Let's start the debate, and I'll move that we actually start doing some stuff would be great, and see if there's any support around the table.
I guess, Councillor Annan, from my point of view, the recommendation as it stands is not overly clear as to what we're.
No, that was on purpose through you, Your Worship, to get direction from the council. I think if Councillor Annan was moving something, it would be probably along the lines of that council initiate an advocacy campaign based on the actions outlined in the report.
Is it? Yeah. Is that? Do you want to progress here, Councillor Annan, on a better defined recommendation here for us to start the debate?
Well, I guess I probably need to hear from you as to whether or not you're happy, because you're the leader in this space, and if you're not happy not happy, you've got lots of other things that you've got going on. Is this something that, in your capacity as mayor and being the spokesperson for us as a community and as a council, is this something that you would like to take on and go gangbusters with it, or is it something that you maybe don't, not at this stage, or could we? And my other hope was that when I have met in a couple of times, actually 3 or 4 times around this issue, trying to come up with ideas, was one of the things that I really wanted to see was what would go gangbusters look like, what would medium, and what was just trying to weave it into stuff they've already done. So I don't know that we've really got that. We've just got some options. We can't just pick them off one at a time. Let's just maybe go with the letter and just go with the sort of pulled back version if that's what the table wants.
I think that depending on the direction we get, we've outlined some of the things that could be included in the report. But I think if you did want to push the go button, we would come up with an advocacy strategy that drew those things together and actually, took it forward rather than, as you say, Councillor Annan, not just picking things off one at a time, actually have a coherent strategy. Those things joined up, letters to political parties, followed up with meetings of, when they're in town or coming through, things like that. There would actually be, something wrapped around that if you press the go button.
Councillor Byrne and then Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, I think we need to go gangbusters because we all stood because we want to make Central Hawke's Bay a better place, but we also want to make sure that we're getting, our community is well served, but isn't, being pushed to the brink of financial ruin. And the government need to listen because we're just not pushing back enough. We're just accepting reform, which is costing us money. It's not just in water. Ironically, the Taxpayers Union are the ones who pushed Stop Three Waters, and we're here with Local Water Done Well, and the government's saying, well, you've got what you've asked for, but actually it doesn't fit the affordability for us. And I think tell them that this reform is just costing our ratepayers money, not actually serving our people. So I think, we need to push back a little. And I just think us accepting and sitting here and rolling over every time a reform's pushed on us is not the way to go. So I support gangbusters, please.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, I totally agree. Would support the having some sort of a strategy to just get on with this. We had this council in Wellington talking to MPs and ministers and whatnot about bridges and road and infrastructure without needing this kind of meeting report. And I can't believe that we're not just getting on with it and speaking out loudly against this affordability issue. So people wholeheartedly support us doing some kind of advocacy strategy. But I think it's on us to actually just start speaking out more loudly on our own, if that's the way we have to do it.
I would just make one comment if I just, and this is just for context, through your worship, I think one of the fundamental tenets of Local Water Done Well as a policy, and I think you've all noted quite well that affordability is not really mentioned within it. One of the fundamental tenets is investment sufficiency. So the premise that there hasn't been sufficient investment in water infrastructure over time, whether you accept that or not, is probably partially fair, and that providing tools for that, for an increased level of investment and having that regulated and monitored through economic regulation through the Commerce Commission, similar to what happens in the electricity sector. So that is just something we're dealing with here, but that's not to take away from the fact that the affordability issue is there and it's open to council to pursue that.
Councillor Muggeridge.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said, but the way I look at it is I doubt whether how much we go gangbusters, we're not going to get any traction on this. The government has given us the vehicle called Water Done Well to try and improve our affordability. That's what they think where it can be done, and all we're going to be doing by doing this is chucking more money. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to get no traction. Sad that it is, but what's going to happen.
Any other questions or comments?
I
Okay,
just-
sorry, Councillor Lennon.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes me feel sad that we've got to that point, because I remember a time when our community was saying that to us as a council years ago. You know, what's the point? They don't even listen, is what, you know, the general sort of public and people feel about politicians. And that's a really sad place for us as a nation to get to. So, you know, I just got to be able to live with myself in 20 years' time when I'm sitting next door to another retired neighbour and they're struggling to pay their rates, which they already are now. And I go, I was once in a position to be able to, I may not get change, but I was once in a position to stand on the front page of the newspaper, not that there are many these days, and say something and do something about it. And I didn't at least ask for the council to do that. So that's, you know, that's a reason to do it, so that we can actually look at ourselves in the eye when we're all actually facing the unaffordable rates that we're going to have to face in the future, and so at least we did try something.
Look, I understand Councillor Muggeridge's sentiments on this, and it's not because we in the sector haven't been here before. It's been a hell of a long journey for many years, discussing and debating, you know, the right models and where we've ended up with local water today. I think we can still do things without costing a lot of money, and if we go right back to the start of this conversation around the timing with the election year and sending letters to all the parties, there's not going to be a lot of resource or effort, and that's a good start. I think overall, though, we need to be doing this as a sector, because, and particularly thinking the rural and provincial sector, because we're all in the same boat here, and we're going to be much more stronger in numbers than just us council on our own batting this. So I think part of the strategy is doing what we can do to a limited extent as a one council, but making sure to see what we can do as a sector, and going to Wellington with that much better strength and numbers. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, I don't see why this approach should cost us a lot of money. It's in kind, it's a few letters, it's some pushing. It's talking about water advocacy, water services affordability, while we're talking to ministers about bridge and roading and everything else that we are advocating for. But what I would like, I don't like the motion as it stands, so I won't be moving it or seconding it. But I would like us to follow up the letter to the minister. I would like us to look for a nationally defined approach to what affordable means. And I would like us to ask the government's rebate scheme to include water services.
Through you, Your Worship, you certainly, the recommendation is not designed to be moved and put. It was designed to get you to give us some guidance. Yeah. So we would welcome a replacement resolution.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, this is really annoying that this is the second or third time that this has come up in this form. Why can't we just advocate for this water services? Why do we need any recommendation? Why do we need another report? The Mayor has it within his power just to advocate for cheaper water services in any way that he can, in any way that we can. I don't see why this report has come up the way it has. I think we should just get on with it and do it anyway.
So, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, this was a direct request from a resolution of council, just to put that on the record. It's set out in the paper there.
On your recommendation, Mr. McLeod, you suggested that a report come back to council.
Actually, ran and added it to another set of resolutions, but I don't wish to continue that.
Happy not to continue that. I was chairing that meeting.
Okay, right. So look, I mean, I'm happy with it. Sounded a much easier approach that you're suggesting there, Councillor Taylor. And for the record, there has been no advocacy to ministers on bridges. So let's just be clear on being accurate in this discussion. But I am happy to take that approach, or happy to take guidance from offer to any councillor that does want to put a resolution up here today. But even if one isn't, I will still advocate in this space. And as I said, I believe the best place to take this is to the LGNZ or at a minimum the rural and provincial sector.
Thank you. Through you. I'm just wondering though, I mean, Wairoa are never afraid to be on the front page of the paper. Why can't Central Hawke's Bay Council be on the front page of the paper for advocating for the affordability of rates in general, water being one of them? It's not going away, it's just being moved to a CCO. We've got the local government reform now, which is costing. Why can't we just say reform is costing our people money? Because they keep pushing all this cost onto us. Yeah, I think, why can't we stand up for once? We haven't been on the front page of the paper for actually good stuff. Why can't we have a comms approach to this that actually says, hey, and put it on the front page of the paper?
I think different mayors would have different opinions about whether being on the front page of the paper is the right thing or the wrong thing.
But this is actually doing the good stuff for our community. We've been on it for McCain's. Why can't we do it for our connected citizens and say, hey, we're standing up for you now because we know that $4,800 worth of water rates in a few years' time is going to push most of you over the edge.
Yeah, and no one's saying we can't do that. It's just going about the best way that we think to engage with government. Councillor Lawrence.
My concern is kind of what you are saying, Mr. Mayor, in that we do that and then it comes back to them beating us with a stick that we're the one increasing the rates. So does that good news story that we're advocating then becomes a story that we're not cutting costs, etc., and we're not doing the best by affordability. So
we have, that's the thing.
But that's not the perception when you look online. You know, that's the concern you have when you turn a good news story into something we get beaten with.
No, I think that's just, it's turning on a government who has pushed this on us, which obviously we're sitting in a different space. I just think, okay. Anyway, this is not debate anymore.
Okay, do we have any, I don't think we've got any more questions. Is there a councillor that would like to put a resolution up? Or happy to,
yeah,
Councillor Byrne.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Taylor that it does seem like we're having to flog this. But I think, yeah, if we go with the reaffirming a letter to Minister Watts and what was the other, defining affordability. But I just don't think it's just a Hawke's Bay or Central Hawke's Bay issue.
And it's not, Councillor Byrne, so that's why I'm suggesting that we go through LGNZ and utilise that vehicle to get a much better audience with the government and hopefully better response. But happy to do the letter like this council did last year, and to spread it across to all the parties in this election year.
That's the key. Yes.
Yeah.
Can I just add in, I've just started working part-time down in Parliament with my brother. You know, so their whole team has got like their EA support, their researchers, their comms people, just like here. So if you're engaging every other day, it gets higher and higher on their radar. So if it's just been one letter, then it needs to be 3 a week or, yeah, just, I'm down there every fortnight. So if you want me to go door knock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, obviously expand the rate rebate scheme.
Councillor Annan, are you?
I just would have, I think maybe let's just leave it on the table, and because nobody's going to be able to put forward a motion. And what I was hoping that we would get is options as to A, B, C, and we could go, right, well, we're going to fully commit to that, and we can, and this is the part that I can play, this is the part that I can play. One of those things that I'd suggested and I'd love to see us do is even do some comms to our own community around, okay, where are we at with local water done well, some reminders as to what's happened in the past, but reminder, this is what is coming. Just we're letting you know we haven't forgotten about it. We are advocating, letting our community know that we're advocating for better funding and financing tools and keeping the affordability stuff high on the agenda, but we just don't. But unless I'm happy to do that on my own platform, but I was hoping that we might be able to get like a full suite of little videos and things like that for all of us to just reassure our community that we're doing things that are in our hand to do to be able to keep raising it. I've held back on doing it in my own sort of strength because I was hoping that I'd be able to get the backing of council comms because I'm not that great at it. But maybe it's just something that's too much for our business at the moment. We just need to focus on something else. So let's just leave it on the table. I will potentially those that moved it, like myself and Kate and Pip, that were quite passionate about it in the first place, we probably just need to sit down and go, well, what is in our capability, what is in our bucket to do, and go from there. That would probably be my suggestion.
Okay, and happy to keep the conversation going also, Councillor Lennon, offline. So look, thanks for all that discussion, and this isn't the end of this, so we'll keep doing what we can.
I just want to put it out there though that I'm finding it hard to know when we have those discussions. Yeah.
Okay. Right, thank you. So we'll leave the paper there. Thank you, Sarah. The items under the common seal. Mr. McLeod.
Through you, Your Worship, item 7.2, I'll take the report as read. There are two items that have been had to fix the committee or fix covered. One being the district plan and one being a warrant of appointment for an officer.
Any questions? No. So move. Council notes the documents executed under the common seal report. Without a seconder. Councillor Moynihan, thank you. All those in favour? Against, carried. Reports from joint committees. Now, Councillor Taylor, do we want to come to you as your timing is running out? Have you got anything to report on Regional Transport Committee?
No, just the one thing that probably came up was the letter that was sent in those minutes. You'll see the Hawke's Bay Regional Economic Development Agency and the committee sent a letter, the chair sent a letter outside of a meeting process asking for continued support of the East Coast Connectivity business case. I was got as grumpy then as I did it 5 minutes ago, basically because there was no mandate for that. The funding from READER was to come back to for district councils to decide on, not the Regional Transport Committee. But having said that, I am in support of the East Coast Connectivity business case wherever that has ended up. I put a screenshot of what that was to councillors, what the business case was. But yeah, apart from that, for some reason it's a whole session behind. We've had another regional transport committee meeting since then. It's just basically building up to the regional land transport plan, which doesn't sort of start happening. The asset management plans are being built now. Activity management plans are being built now, and it's a long process. So about the time we're doing our long-term plan, the regional transport committee will be doing its regional land transport plan.
Thank you. There's no officer report to go with that or comments. Any questions from for Councillor Taylor?
I had one. I'm still disappeared off there, but I think it was related to the change of the state highway in Waipokoro. And obviously it says it's to begin later in the National Land Transport Plan period. And the plan is 24 to 27, and 27 is next year. Does that mean it's going to happen next year?
No, it's like a long-term plan. The way it's 10 years or 3 years turns over, yeah. So it's always sort of been in the end of that. But Linda Stewart, our relationship manager with NZTA, assures me that it's definitely still there. We're still working through the processes. It hasn't gone away. That's the revocation, Ruataniwha Street and the bypass in Waipokoro. Basically, we didn't want to just do a swap. We wanted to make, as a council, we wanted to make sure that there were proper intersections and proper other works around that swap that didn't leave us basically taking over, that didn't leave it exactly as it was. We wanted to actually make it so that the highway was obvious, the bypass was obvious, the giveaways, etc. were all properly designed. There's been some complaints on, I think, Talk CHB or somewhere recently about that intersection beside the Gull petrol station, that intersection. So yeah, that's sort of an ongoing thing.
One other. And the other question was, and I get it all the time, is where does the clip-on for the Waipawa State Highway Bridge sit in the regional plan, please?
It sits as a nice to have, because the government positioning statement that NZTA takes all the NLTP stuff from basically took those sort of cycling and other modes of transport, reduced their importance, even though we tried to push it as a safety thing, because it is not safe to put, cyclists don't feel safe going up onto the footpath across the bridge. So we're talking between Waipawa and the road to Waipokoro, that bridge, and but it's still in the thinking, but it's going to, unless there's a change in government or a change in thinking in that GPS, it's not going to happen for some time. So it'll remain a wee bit of a stranded asset there.
Thank you.
In my opinion.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Councillor Taylor. That's exactly right in terms of the government's priorities.
Councillor Annan.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there anything, Councillor Taylor, that we could be doing as a council or community to get the road swap as a higher priority?
I think just pushing for it to stay in there is enough. When you rank it next to the two top priorities for the region were the Waikari Gorge realignment on State Highway 2 to Wairoa and the four-laning of the expressway. It's kind of down in the pecking order somewhat. But considering that at the moment it is our only CHB project in there, I think we just, I'm thinking back to the revocation now. I'm not sure that we can do anything to get the cycle back up other than just mentioning it all the time. The NZTA, Linda definitely knows that we would like it, but I think it's out of our control to actually push it high. Through you, Your Worship, there was one thing I wanted to add, that road safe, you'll see it somewhere in the minutes that talks about how the importance of road safe in the SLG going forward and the reimagining of local government in Hawke's Bay. And I think it's really important for us to continue our road safe funding to continue to put road safe and road safety in our thinking. We did talk at the most recent meeting about the fatal crashes that there have been, particularly on State Highway 2 between Maipukaro and Takapo. And yeah, I think it's we had at the meeting that these minutes are for, we had a very emotional presentation from the road safe team. And yeah, safe to say there were a few wet eyes in the room, and it's certainly any thought that you might pick up your phone when you're driving, just don't. Just reiterating those road safety messages about speed and the distraction of looking down at your stereo, looking down at your phone, looking out at something. A moment's inattention on the road led to a lady losing her gram, and it's an ongoing road safety message. So that's my lecture over for the day. Be safe on our roads.
Thanks, Councillor Taylor. Yeah, some unfortunate statistics in our district at the moment. Any other questions on regional transport? No? Thank you. So the other joint committee held to report on is the Hawke's Bay Sedum group. A bit like Councillor Taylor with regional transport. We have had another one just last week, but nonetheless, the report there is from March, which hopefully you've all read. One thing of interest will obviously be to this council, the acknowledgement of Doug Tate, who was the key chair at the time, and obviously stood down, and that Dr. Nick Peat, CEO of Regional Council, took over that role going forward from here. The other things to report were just obviously the continuation of the transformation strategy, and which was all the work post Cyclone Gabrielle and the kind of the new strategy, if you like, of civil defence going forward in Hawke's Bay, and so and everything that entails with the new setup. One of the things at that point in time was still the sort of the vacant roles under the new strategy, which there was a lot to be still filled at that point in time, which the most recent update is that they've largely all been filled now, or mostly. And then there was just obviously the recent weather event, which was quite a good test of the Civil Defence Office under the sort of the transformation and the new regime going forward, and by all accounts, everything was tested well, albeit there were still some learnings and some changes made as a result of that. Back then also, probably one of the other issues, recent issues arising, was the fuel supply or fuel crisis, and just was in the early days of planning for that. Any questions? No, if not, I'll ask for someone to move that we accept, receive and accept the Regional Transport Committee and Hawke's Bay Sedum Committee reports. Councillor Moynihan, second, Councillor Muggeridge. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. We just have the date of the next meeting, so I move that we set the next date as Wednesday the 5th of August, not Thursday the 6th, as a result of rural and provincial.
Your worship is the extraordinary council meeting on the 16th.
Oh, there is two. Okay, so scrap that. The date of the next meeting is an extraordinary council meeting set for the 16th of July. I'll move that we set that date. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Lawrence. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Now we just need to move into PE, so I'll move that we move into public excluded. Can I please have a seconder? And that is for just the resolutions monitoring report. Could I please have a seconder? Councillor Byrne, thank you. All those in favour?
Oh,
Yes, very good.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Delivery and Performance Committee meeting. First of all, we'll call for apologies. We have a few. We've got Councillor Neatly up to. Councillor Taylor is now an apology. Councillor Choate, and we've got one more, and Councillor Greer. I'll move that they be effective. Councillor Byrne. Has anyone got any conflicts of interest that they'd like to declare? No. We'll abandon our standing orders on speaking for the duration of the meeting. Confirmation of minutes from the 7th of May. Everyone had a chance to have a look at those? No amendments? No. Mover, please. Councillor Lawrence, second Councillor Annan, Councillor Monahan, sorry. All those in favour? Right. Resolution monitoring report. Everyone had a chance to have a look at that. Any questions? Yes.
The Toki Swing Bridge. Are we happy that there's progress on that project?
Right. Through you, Chair. You've got an update on the Swing Bridge project later today on the workshop.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Move that accepted. Councillor Lawrence, worship the Mayor. Information report section, capital and renewal program status update.
Thank you, Chair. The report provides a year-end update on the delivery of the Council's capital and renewal program for 25 and 26. Overall, the program delivery team has delivered a strong year with delivery momentum increasing significantly for the second half of the financial year. We've seen substantial progress across our water, transport and community facility portfolios, including major advancement of the Waipawa water treatment plant, completion of several land transport recovery projects, and delivery of important community facility upgrades, such as the Prongaho Hall, repairs and the Russell Park improvements. The program is forecast to close approximately 7 million below budget. However, this is largely due to timing and rephasing of expenditure into the next year rather than a reduction in delivery. Several major projects remain active and are progressing well towards the completion in 26-27. Overall, the program has delivered infrastructure improvements for our communities, strengthened local contractor capability, and improved resilience and performance of the council's core assets, positioned a strong pipeline of work for the coming financial year. We're going to go through some, we'll go through some photos now of the Capital Works program, and then I'll be happy to answer some questions. Where are we looking?
Is it possible to get on here?
There it is.
Can't see.
Oh, that's okay. I can talk to the photos. Oh, right. Perfect. Cool. Can we just go back one slide? I think there's an important one there. This has been obviously a key project which you've been updated on. It's the drinking water improvement for the Waipawa water treatment plant. You can see the equipment's been installed there and the sheds down on Tikikino Road.
Can we ask questions?
Yep, absolutely.
So when is that due to go live?
This is due to, through you, Chair, this is due to be commissioned around September, October, probably more October. So it's on track for that. Yeah.
Is it possible to have it shared on the screen for people?
Just as part of the commissioning project, just you want to just talk a little bit about that, Mark, if you can. Just it's not a matter of flicking the switch. I remember when we went through it, Havelock North, we quite a days of sort of testing without putting it in supply, and then
Yeah, there's quite a significant commissioning process. So the project team working very closely with our operational team, Veolia, and have been through the design process as well. So Veolia have actually been embedded in the design process to make sure that the plant can actually be operated safely and can be operated effectively without creating too many problems from an operational perspective. So yeah, Veolia kind of sit in parallel with that process right to the end. And some of that excavation you're seeing there is, you can understand that we're having to maintain water supply, and at some point we'll be removing a section of pipe that allows that water from the bores to come up through the water treatment plant and then out back into the network again. So there's a lot of planning that goes into that pipe work. It's not just about putting a building in place and putting some gear in it and off we go. So there's a long process. There's a lot of planning even over the next 3 months.
And we haven't come across any hidden unfortunate problem. It's all going as planned.
Yeah,
happy with.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Yeah, we've got no significant issues. We had some minor variations. We do have a significant contingency on this project, and a team are just looking at improving the resilience on one of the pumps to make use of that contingency to make it even more resilient than what we'd originally planned.
The Homewood Road and Racecourse Road upgrades, are they completed?
Yeah, through you, Chair. The Racecourse Road work has been completed and was a while ago. The Homewood Road has just been completed this month and is just going into final commissioning in the next month. So we'll see that finalised. It's July now, isn't it? So this month.
Seems to be never ending, the traffic management.
Through you, Chair, the Homewood Road presented some challenges with Kiwi Rail, and we had a significant period of time waiting for approvals and permits to get through the Kiwi Rail system so that we could put in 40 meters.
Racecourse Road.
Yeah.
Those Homewood Road, because the pipe goes under the rail crossing on Racecourse Road.
Racecourse Road, yeah.
Sorry. We call it the Homewood Road.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh, so is that Racecourse Road, Waipokoro?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
Okay. Right, okay, yep. So the Homewood Road one is complete?
Homewood Road project, the water renewal there, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ben, the water renewal, isn't it? That had significant challenges with going under the railway, and the Kiwi Rail issues with getting the permit to do the work. So it was a long time coming.
So through you, Chair, it was done in 2 phases. The majority of the work was finished early in the year, and there was a last 30-40 meters that needed to be done, and we needed Kiwi Rail permits, which took a long time to get, so we could just finish that last bit off, which is what you've probably done recently.
The previous slide just showed a few photos of the wastewater pipeline that's just started for the Waipokoro South Growth Precinct down at Gow Street and Waipokoro. That's obviously a key project for that Waipokoro South Growth Precinct. So we'll see that happen over the next few months as that progresses up Tavistock Road and into the area of Waipokoro South.
And, oh, yeah, because I see all the pipes there. So is there much digging to put those pipes in, or can they use existing? I mean, you don't want to keep digging up roads and.
For
For the wastewater south.
Yes, we're going to be moving along all of those streets up through Joel Crescent.
Yeah, Joel.
Around the corner up through Tavistock Road past the college there to Jellicoe and into, I can't think what the last street's called. Yeah, it's the small piece there into the back of the growth precinct.
Through you, Chair, yes, just so some of the excavation through our existing roads go up to 4 meters deep with our projects, just quite significant.
Yeah.
This slide shows the pipe that we procured early due to the Middle East conflict, which has been delivered to Waipokoro and being stored at the Higgins yard. It's obviously going to be a key project for 26-27 financial year as we go into the procurement of the river crossing and then the rising main and the reservoir scopes.
Worship. Thank you, Chair. So the purchase of that pipe's included in this year's budget, in that financial figure? Like, are we paying for it this year?
Through you, Chair, Worship. The pipe, it's an interesting story, and it'll probably be covered off a little bit when we talk to the financials if there are questions around it. But the procurement, it was $1.2 million. Unfortunately, the supplier has only been able to, we secured the pricing, but only half of it's been delivered in this financial year. So we'll see an invoice of, I think it has been processed already, of $600,000, which is obviously contributing to our $7 million underspend.
Okay, and just second one, please, Chair. Being black, is there a risk for those sitting there in the summer if they're still not in the ground?
Yeah, through you, Chair, they're fine in the sun for a short period of time. They will, with Dr. Higgins, they will ultimately be covered because they could be out there for quite a while. But yeah, they're fine. They've got UV protection embedded, but we want them covered. We don't want them sitting out there for 18 months, but they'll be getting in the ground within the next 7-8 months.
To add on, so we've got the first delivery of the half, and the second delivery when needed, or
through you, Chair, the delivery is due to be within the next month. It's just not relevant to this financial year.
Yeah. So it's not far away.
Keep our finger on that.
Yeah.
And keep you up to date on it.
We've still got our money for the half, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be carrying that portion of the budget into the next financial year.
Yeah.
And through you, Chair, it's about 20 trucks.
Oh, right.
When we say a delivery, it's 20 deliveries.
And it's
you can buy it as you drive into Waipokoro and the Higgins yard.
Yeah. And that's still that second delivery. We still see that set price that we did won't be any
What's contract? Yeah.
Contracted for. Yeah.
And for you, we bought it in anticipation of a price escalation. Have we seen that happen, or have we just not checked?
Yeah, the PE resin that was coming in after that was manufactured, that was 30% more expensive than what we'd purchased. I've been keeping an eye on the polyethylene price globally, and it is dropping down again, but I don't think that translates immediately to what the cost is at our border for PE resin. But the resin arriving at our order was going up 30% again. So,
so the pump's paid.
Set it ourselves around 300,000.
Thank you.
Good.
Nelly, do you want to go to the next? You'll see we're starting to move into the land transport photos now. This was phase one, which is 100% funded by IAF or NIFCO. This is the Wimbledon Road, which has been a significant project, improving resilience in that space. That's ongoing at the moment, and we will see that project completed in this next month of this new financial year. Slide, please, Emily. And another phase one, Fletcher's Crossing, obviously a significant repair there to the bridge. The portion of work that's just been completed, you will see, I don't know how to describe this, in the sort of centre left of the second photo there, the portion on the gravel. There's, I think there's a couple of vehicles in the photo. That's just been completed and closed out this financial year. This is recovery phase 2 at Podedi Road. This has been a really challenging project for our team. We've got a 50-metre retaining wall there, which is at the extent of our resource consent in this area. Following the flooding that we had, must nearly be 2 months ago now, that portion of the road slipped, and we've gone into an emergency sort of design recovery for that piece to ensure that we don't have continued failings in that site. But we can see that the retaining wall and the benching back up to the road has been a success, as opposed to the original design, which was going to sorry, I've lost my description there.
It was going to, the original design, through you, Chair, was going to move the road away from the edge. That in hindsight, that would have been a bad idea, because the depths of the rock under here is, the drilling is going in about 20 meters to hold that retaining wall up. So moving the road across, would have potentially ended up with losing the whole road in future, the whole structure of the road. So this is the right solution, but it's challenging for the contractor because of the rock being so deep into the embankment.
And we're seeing continual water seepage out of that side of the hill too.
That's good.
Just on that one, so there's been some damage in the most recent rain. Do we get some funding from NZTA for the damage that was occurred while we're trying to fix the cyclone damage?
I'll invite Ben to answer that question, because he's through you, Chair, he's been working with NZTA.
You get another 89%.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, so we managed to work with NZTA to essentially extend the recovery site, including extending the continuation of the recovery fire rate to address the new slip, basically funded from underspends across the program. So there's essentially minimal impact to us. We're receiving 89% on the proposed solution for that, which off the top of my head is forecasted in between $300,000 to $400,000 worth of work. So yeah, pretty good news story there that we're attracting 89%, and there's no extra funding required from council.
So that's 300 to 400,000 on the slip that just occurred at the last.
The new slip, yes.
It's slip to the west of the current retaining wall.
Good news, thank you.
This is phase 4, which it's an important phase for us because it's been the phase where we've used the approach to contractor procurement plan, which is all about engaging our local contractors to complete works. This one in particular is Flemington Culvert and is progressing well, but will continue into the next financial year. And then last but not least is our community facilities. You'll see a couple of photos there of the new toilet install at Russell Park, improving the facilities there next to the netball courts and hockey courts.
Yeah,
I see you've got some nice areas up for, will there be some tree vegetation in front of there?
Yeah, through you, Chair. We've already organised with Green by Nature to put planting in front of there. So over time that will soften. And we spoke to the customer who lives opposite that site and explained that to her as well, and she seemed to be happy with that resolution.
sorry, I've got my hand up. So the remaining budget on those 4 recovery categories. When we submitted the budget to NZTA and it was approved, and now we've got this variance, are we using those from the remaining on different projects? We're going to spend it all?
Your chair, the first phase there, phase 1, which is 100% funded, is our intentions to spend every dollar to improve resilience in those sites, and we're doing that out on Wimbledon Road at the moment. On phase 2, we've got that issue at Podeli Road, where we'll be attempting, well, we will not be attempting, we'll be fixing the new slip in that area and potentially exhausting all of that budget to complete that. And then with the phase 3, that is pretty much wrapped up, as that was put through the maintenance contract, and that won't, I don't believe we'll be allocating that funding elsewhere. In phase 4, we've got 4 open projects, which one's just finished the tendering process, and 2 to 3 more to be tendered, which will likely cost most of that budget. I dare say that with phase 4, we would, I guess, intend to underspend considering the funding, but we'll have to continue to monitor that. Ben, have you got anything to add to that on phase?
I can add to that. Yeah, through you, Chair. So any underspends, we'll be talking to NZTA about how we transfer that underspend to Patangata Bridge, because as you know, we've got a significant investment there to make, and a decision for council to make around repair versus renewal. But we would expect to see variations on these projects. These are not simple projects where we're just paying a lump sum. There are variations on all of these projects because of ground conditions that we come across.
Look at the end of the slideshow, was it? Yep. Cool. Any other questions? No? Well done. Thank you. Recommendation is that receive the capital and renewal program Q4 report. That's the overall program performance, delivery outcomes, and forecast financial position. Worship second. All those in favour? Yes. We need to move into publicly excluded now, but we might end. We've got someone waiting online and can only be here for a limited time, so we might have to go to that first item in the public workshop. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe just have a motion to adjourn the committee meeting for half an hour, and then we can come back to that.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the public part of the meeting done, so we can close that, can't we? And then just come back and go into publicly excluded.
Yeah, it would be good to adjourn the meeting. Actual procedure.
Oh, okay, we're going to adjourn the meeting and move into a public workshop.